What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. In today's video we're checking out one of the latest and most advanced robot vacuums from EZVIZ. What we have here today is called the RS20 Pro. So this is a robot that vacuums, mops, and this can also be used kind of like a security camera for your home. We'll talk more about that later on in the video. Now on my desk here you're only seeing the actual robot vacuum, but in the box you do get a base station for the robot vacuum. However, that is a bit too big and I cannot fit it on my desk here next to me. But when you combine the base station with a robot, you basically get a truly hands-free user experience. So you don't really have to do anything. The robot knows how to do everything all by itself. Alright, so next we are talking about the base station, and the base station for this robot vacuum is different than all the other robot vacuums that I got to try up until now. And let me tell you that I tried a lot of robot vacuums. So this is the only robot vacuum available on the market, well, that I know of, that can remove its mop pads and then put them back on wherever it needs them. I've seen a lot of comments under other robot vacuum videos where people are concerned about the carpets being touched by these mop pads. Yes, a lot of vacuums do lift these up, but they can still touch the carpets and, well, eventually the carpets do get a bit wet from the mop pads. Well, that is not the case with this robot vacuum, because this robot vacuum will basically mop wherever it can mop. So let's say that you have a combination of hard floors and carpets throughout your house. The robot will go mop the hard floors first, then will go back to the base station, will drop these off, and then it will go vacuum the carpets without these on. So if you're concerned in the past about the mop pads touching the carpet, well, that's not gonna happen with this robot vacuum, because this one is the only one that drops these off at the base station. Alright, so at the top of the base station we have two water tanks, one for clean water, you're gonna have to fill that up with clean water, and one for dirty water. So whenever the robot goes back to the base station to wash the mops, all the dirty water will basically go to the dirty water tank, and every so often you will have to empty that out. You can also install a cleaning solution under one of those water tanks, and there is a cleaning solution that actually comes in the box with a robot vacuum, and whenever that's done you get to buy another one. Or if you don't want to use a cleaning solution, you can use the robot vacuum without a cleaning solution. There is also a dust bag next to those water tanks. So basically all the dirt that gets collected in here, so this is where our dustbin is, and filter of course. So all the dirt that gets collected in here will end up in the dust bag that's in the base station. And the robot vacuum does all this by itself. So every so often it will go back to that base station, it will empty itself out, it will wash the mop pads, and of course it will do that when it's done a cleaning cycle as well. Now, something that you may want to know, if the robot vacuum does run out of power while it's on a cleaning cycle, it will also go back to the base, it will recharge, and then it will continue and finish whatever cleaning cycle it was doing. I don't think that's going to be the case, because here for my apartment the robot vacuums finishes with about 50% battery, but if you do have a massive house that could happen. But the robot vacuum knows how to go back to the base station, recharge, and then finish whatever was cleaning. And at the bottom of the base station we kind of have the wash station for the mop pads. As I said earlier, the robot vacuum can take these off, put them on depending where it's cleaning and what is cleaning as well. So these are washed with hot water, and then whenever the robot vacuum is done a cleaning cycle, these will also be dried with hot air. That's important because this way you're not gonna have mold growing in there, bacteria and all that. So these aren't gonna smell after a few cleaning cycles. With some robot vacuums that don't have hot air for drying these, the mop pads do smell after a while, but that's not the case with these ones. So these ones do smell nice and new still, even now that I've been using the robot vacuum for over a week. Taking a quick look at the robot vacuum, well, yes, this does look fairly similar with most other robot vacuums available on the market. We do have the same shape, however, the vacuum does have certain things that are quite different from the other robot vacuums available on the market. So as I showed you earlier, at the top here we basically have our dustbin. You're not really gonna have to clean that. Everything gets emptied in there. You may have to clean that filter every so often. And at the top here, we have the LiDAR navigation system. So this robot vacuum, it's using this LiDAR navigation system, a 3D laser and an AI camera to basically map out your entire house and avoid obstacles throughout your house. The obstacle avoidance is very important for one of these robot vacuums because if you do leave stuff on the floor, with a lot of robot vacuums, they get stuck on a cable, on a sock, on a shoe or something like that. Well, that is not the case with this robot vacuum. So if you do forget something on the floor, it will go around whatever object you leave on the floor. So the obstacle avoidance on this robot vacuum is really good. Because we have that LiDAR navigation system, the robot vacuum will also map out your entire house and it knows exactly where it is at all times. It knows where it has to go. It knows where it didn't go. And of course, it knows how to go back to the base station to charge itself or wash the mop pads or whatever it has to do. So you don't really have to worry about anything. You don't have to clean the floor. You just start the cleaning cycle and the robot vacuum will do everything by itself. There is also a feature in the EZVIZ app that you can enable. So every time the robot vacuum goes by your pet, it can take a little recording of your pet. Now, I don't have any pets, so I haven't really tried that, but that is also a feature that is available. And that kind of brings us to this camera that we have on the front here. So you can actually send the robot vacuum to patrol your house. So you can actually see everything that the robot vacuum sees through this camera. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, with the camera seeing throughout your house, there is actually a sticker that comes in the box. So you can just block that camera and, well, you're not gonna get access to those features. So you're not gonna be able to see what the vacuum sees. But if you want to see what the vacuum sees, if you want to record what the vacuum sees through that camera, you have that option from the app. You also have to set up a code to actually access the camera. Going back to the vacuum, so on the front here, aside from that camera, those sensors, we also have a bit of a bumper. So the vacuum uses this whenever it navigates through your house, even though you rarely see this vacuum touching anything throughout your house. So as I said, the obstacle avoidance does work extremely well on this one. And turning this around, so on the front here we have two brushes. These brushes basically push all the dirt towards the main suction hole right here. And then we have the main brush in the center here. So first of all, the vacuum has a suction power of 7200 PA. So whenever it goes over anything, mostly if it's at the maximum suction power, you can adjust that from the app. So you can have it at the maximum suction power, or if you're home and you don't want the vacuum to make that much noise, you can lower the suction power. You can actually select from the app how wet the mop pads will be as well. So all that is customizable from the app. But basically, whenever this goes over anything, it will suck everything up inside the robot vacuum because there is a lot of suction power. So it doesn't matter if the robot vacuum is going over hard floors or carpets, it will basically suck everything up from the floor because there is a lot of suction power available. Another feature that's an absolute must these days for a robot vacuum, and surprisingly not all of them actually have this, is the anti-tangle technology used for this roller brush at the bottom here. So the vacuum has been cleaning my house for about a week now, and there is literally no hair stuck on this. This works good for regular human hair or pet hair, but I don't have any pets, so I couldn't really try pet hair. But my biggest problem is basically with human hair, long hair that gets stuck on the brush. Well, that's not the case with this one, so you're not gonna have to clean the hair from this brush. So a very, very useful feature if you ask me. And then of course we have our mop pads. These kind of stay in place with magnets, and as I said a few times already, the robot vacuum can take these off and put them back on in the base station. You can also remove this cloth here if you want to wash these in a washing machine every so often. Whenever this mops your floor, it also puts pressure onto the floor with the mop pads. So of course that will be helpful whenever the robot vacuum goes over stains and stuff like that. And throughout the cleaning cycle, this will also go back to the base station and wash these mops. So you can select from the app how often that happens as well. So your floors will always be spotless because it puts pressure on the floor, and these are constantly cleaned throughout the cleaning cycle. Inside the robot vacuum, we also have a small water tank. This water tank gets filled up from the clean water tank whenever the robot vacuum goes to the base station, so you don't actually have to do any of that yourself. The robot vacuum does all that by itself. But basically with that water tank, the robot is able to keep this wet throughout a cleaning cycle. And as I said, from the app, you can select how wet these should be whenever the robot vacuum is cleaning. And since we are talking about the app, well, basically the robot vacuum is connected to your home's Wi-Fi network. When you first take this out of the box, you basically connect it to your home Wi-Fi network through the EZVIZ app. And basically everything from the app is customizable. You can customize when this should clean, for example, what it should clean. So it doesn't necessarily have to clean the whole house at the same time. You can make do not go zones. So let's say that your office, you don't want the vacuum to go in your office. You can have a do not go zone as well. So everything is very customizable from the app. If you just want the vacuum to clean when you're not home, you just set a schedule and the vacuum does everything whenever you're not at home. So very, very customizable, not to mention that this can actually be controlled with your voice through Google's Assistant or Amazon's Alexa. Even though myself, I haven't actually set it up, but you can basically give voice commands to the Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa, and this can go on a cleaning cycle just with your voice if you don't want to take the phone out and access it from the app. One thing I did forget to mention about the mopping capabilities is the ability to get really close to the edges of the wall. So basically the robot vacuum does this wiggling motion where the mop pads actually get very, very, very close to the edges. Very important because with some of these vacuums that don't have this feature, you typically get about this much space that never gets cleaned. Well, that is not the case with this one. So this one is able to get very, very close to the edges of the wall. So you're not gonna have to go cleaning after the robot vacuum because this will do it all by itself. So to quickly conclude this video, if you're looking for a robot vacuum that does it all by itself, where you don't actually have to clean after the robot vacuum, well, look no further because the EZVIZ RS20 Pro is definitely a really good vacuum. Now, of course, this is a premium product and premium products do come at a premium price. So this is definitely not a cheap robot vacuum. But there will be some links in the video description and some coupon codes so you can get this a bit cheaper. So definitely check out the video's description. Also, thanks EZVIZ for sponsoring this video. But basically, if you're looking for a robot vacuum that does mopping and vacuuming really well, also really good obstacle avoidance, and very important for a lot of people from what I've seen in other comments under other robot vacuum videos, if you're looking for a robot vacuum that will not get your carpets wet, well, look no further because this one drops off the mop pad, so it will never get those carpets wet. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I don't believe there is any other robot vacuum available on the market that does that. If there is, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know. But it's a great idea to have those mop pads removed so the vacuum actually goes and vacuums just like a regular vacuum without carrying those wet mops everywhere. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.